Now, severe food shortage is said to have hit the Walewale Vocational and Technical Institute in the Northeast region. The situation has led to the supply of inadequate and poor meals in the school. The school children claim they are being fed raw gari and rice without stew over the past 3 weeks. Eliasu Tanko joins us through Zoom with more. Eliasu, what's the situation on the ground and what are you hearing from the students?
Well, the situation is very dire. From the students themselves, hearing from students themselves. In the for the past
can you if you can hear me, can you reposition yourself? Your line keeps breaking and it's affecting the information you are giving out.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, so the students claim that for the past 3 weeks they have been fed gari, only gari, and without sugar or stew or whatever. And only this week the management also brought in rice, and the rice too they are giving without stew. The students tell me that this has resulted in several health implications. Some of them claim to be running diarrhea. Others said they are having other stomach upset, and some of them are now asking to go home. Some of them also claim that they are compelled to go out into the Walewale township to engage in, for instance, carrying blocks for contractors to be able to get money to go and support themselves in the feeding process, just to buy sugar and stew to eat with the gari that has been provided. And so it's really a very difficult situation in the school. They claim that for the past 3 weeks, they have been given only gari without stew or sugar.
What has the school administration say, what has it said is the reason why this is happening?
Well, we reached out to the senior headmaster of the school. He won't speak to us and only directed us to speak with the regional education authorities. We again reached out to the regional director himself. He said, yes, he was aware of the situation, but as we know, this is a national crisis, and so he has followed up. He has also put in his complaint to national authorities, and they have not responded to him. And so, yes, he has confirmed that he's aware of the situation, not only at the Walewale Senior Vocational and Technical Institute, but also he mentioned the Bunkurgu Senior High School, which is also suffering severe food shortage. According to him, parents in that area, yes, who have their wards in the school, are having to contribute some monies to help the school management feed the children. Also, we are hearing another similar story at the Wulugu Senior High School. And this particular senior high school, you remember early this year, there was some rampaging or some riots in the school because of food shortages. And this time again, we are hearing that the situation also in that particular school is also getting dire. At the vocational school in Walewale, the student told me that they are putting themselves to hit on the street to protest against the situation or to protest over the situation in the school. So very soon we could see some of the students in this school coming together to protest over this particular food shortage in their campuses.
That's interesting. Okay, Eliasu, I'm grateful to you for joining us here with this latest update on that. Now to some other stories. Some schools in the Volta region are also left with nothing for students to eat. This has forced the school head to write to the Ghana Education Service demanding immediate supply. We'll bring you details of some of these letters Joy News has intercepted. But first, Joy News Rafik Salam reports similar situations and the impact of shortage of food at the St. Basilit's Technical and Vocational Training Institute, and joins us through Zoom with details. All right, so let me bring in my colleague Kweku Asanto, who is joining me with some of the letters Joy News has cited. Kweku, what are these letters that we've seen? What are the details?
So we first have a letter from Alabanyo Senior High Technical School, written by Headmaster Reverend Samuel Pius, Elereko, who is raising concerns about the shortage of food in the school. Let me quote specifically what he said. It says, management of Alabanyo Senior High School respectfully rise to request for food to enable us to feed the students. This request has become necessary since the last emergency 2 weeks food supplied on 15 September 2022 has run out. We hope our request will be given quick response. We currently feed the students with only breakfast and supper, and this can take us to Friday, 30th September 2022. So from this letter, the food supplies have already run out and they are really under that supply challenges. That is the letter from Alabanyo Senior High School. There's another similar letter from the headmistress of Azatime Senior High School in the Bane in the Volta region. It also says the same thing, that management wants to report with urgency the food situation in the Azatime Senior High School. The school store, as of now, is having only 4 bags of maize, 2 bags of sugar, and few tin tomatoes. Virtually, there will be no food from next week going. This unfortunate situation has been reported to the regional buffer stock coordinator and other officers that matters, but the situation has remained the same. Signed, Rebecca Mausi, the headmistress of this senior high school. So these 2 senior high schools in the Volta region clearly railing under the supply food shortage.
All right, Kweku, thank you very much. Now, joining us through Zoom is the Executive Director of the Africa Education Watch, Kofi Asare, who has been recommending cost sharing to prevent some of these mishaps. Thank you so much, Mr. Asare, for joining us. This recurring issue, what can be the permanent solution to it aside your initial recommendation, which has not been adhered to as of now? Mr. Asare, I'm trying to find out from you what could be the permanent solution to this recurring situation in senior high schools where from time to time we would have a report of food shortages. What could be the permanent solution aside your initial recommendation, which of course has not been adhered to as of now?
The permanent solution is based on a factual diagnosis of the problem, not the symptom. The problem is that there is no money. Government has no money. Our education system, our economy cannot sustain raising regular revenue to feed all 1.3 million students in school. That is the reality. In June, the ministry indicated that, in July, the ministry indicated that its debt to buffer stock, its debt to senior suppliers was about 370 million Ghana cedis. And it was working to reduce it because that was the major cause of the shortages. As I speak to you, the buffer stock debt has rather increased to 470. By the end of the year, we should be hitting 500 million Ghana cedis. So the problem is that our economy cannot support raising regular funding to enable suppliers supply food without hitches. The solution is that get parents to support government in feeding their children. That is the solution. Government must admit that there must be a conversation around enhancing and streamlining parental participation in the provision of food in senior high schools. It is based on that conversation that the framework for facilitating the parental contribution of food in senior high schools can be developed and adapted. But if we continue the current approach where government keeps playing ostrich, that we don't need parents, we alone can feed the children, we can never solve this problem. The government needs more than $1 billion, about 1.3 billion a year, to feed 1.3 million children in senior high schools. And that money is no joke and it's not available.
The 1.3 billion you're talking about, is it cedis or is it US dollars?
1.3 billion cedis. Okay. In fact, the free senior high school budget is mainly about feeding. About 70% of the budget goes into feeding. And so if government is able to get parents to meet it halfway, okay, you are spending about 5.5 cents a day to feed every mouth. If government is able to get parents to meet it halfway, if parents are taking half of the cost and government is taking half of the cost, or if government is able to use means testing, data from the Ghana Statistical Service, data from the Ghana Household Registry, where we know where the poor households are in the poorest part of these countries. In 7 regions, we have data on poor households. The Statistical Service has data on poor households based on their expenditure under the various Ghana Living Standard Service. So government must be intentional that, look, we can't sustain running this program this way. Let's build data infrastructure that will enable us to target the policy so that people from poor households can enjoy free food. But people from rich households or average households should be able to pay for just the food.
Okay.
That is how you manage and sustain an important social intervention policy like the free senior school policy.
All right, grateful that you could join us. Now, also joining us on phone is the Deputy Ranking Member on the Education Committee of Parliament, Clement Park. Thank you so much, sir. Now, this is an issue where we all need to come on board. Government says that I'm not looking at trying to change this free SHS. People like you and other people in education have said that we need to look at how we can bring on board parents. At this point, where do we go from here?
Well, let me say good morning to you and say a big hello to my good friend, a very nationalistic-minded individual, Kofi Asare, who personally and through his organization have served Mother Ghana and the educational sector very well with a few of favor. Yes, I agree with the opinions expressed by Kofi. And I still do not understand why government, the president, feels adamant in taking the bold step to actualize what he himself hinted us a couple of weeks ago. I speak to his admission that there was the need for a national conversation around the policy, its implementation, and in particular to address some of the challenges that some of us have been pointing out time without number. If you look at the policy, over the last 5 years, the total investment is 7.62 billion. Although very strangely, the same minister who quoted that figure, the Minister for Finance, in a budget statement on the floor of Parliament, just 2022, came to Parliament and is now quoting 5.3, a matter that we will resolve because I filed a question to that effect. But the point to make is that for 2022, we approved 2.3 billion to finance the program. And it is true that the biggest chunk of the funding has to go to the provision of meals for the students. So granting that we have these challenges almost on a monthly or bi-monthly basis of shortages of food items. What prevents the government from releasing the monies that we have approved to deal with these issues in a much more substantive way, even as we look at the bigger, broader national conversation? If it is the case that the monies that Parliament has approved is not available in the consolidated fund or in the public purse to be disbursed so that buffer stock food suppliers will be paid timeously so that they can supply the food regularly, then government ought to let us know so that the rest of us, members of the public, can see what can be done to rally. As we speak, look, the situation is not good. The heads of the institutions, many of them are at their wits' end trying to manage taking food items and other supplies on credit. you know, why don't we just open up and be sincere and honest? I mean, some of the parents are contributing to keep the kids fed in the schools. We know of situations where old boys and girls are contributing to keep the kids fed in the schools. So why are we playing the ostrich, pretending as if all is well, when we know it is not? So if the money is not there, tell us that the money is not there. Let us know. Invite parents. A lot of parents are willing. They are doing it anyway as we speak. Because no parent would know that your ward is not being fed in school, or is not having 3 square meals in school, or is not having a nutritious meal, and you sit back. So parents are already contributing to sustain their wards in the schools. All boys and girls are mobilizing and supporting them. But it can be formalized if only government is willing to be honest and transparent about the challenges that we face. So yes, 2.3 billion. Why is the money not being disbursed? If it is not there, let us know. As Kofi said, invite parents. People are willing to come on board. They are willing to support. But it is very difficult when government continues to play ostrich and tries to pretend and tries to, you know, compel all of us in the face of contrary evidence to admit that things are rosy, when in fact things are not. So it's most unfortunate, but I mean, we have alternatives. There is a way out of this quagmire. But those who are leading the process must be open and transparent and must be honest in inviting all of us to the table in the short term, as we also look at the long-term issue of having that national conversation so that we can see how we can resituate the program and its implementation to yield the maximum benefit that we all desire.
Doc, I'm grateful for your time. Dr. Clement Park is a Deputy Ranking Member on the Parliament Education Committee. This is NewsDesk on the Joy News Channel. We'll take